There is a problem. Statistically, neurodiverse people are lonely. Neurodiversity is a term that refers to those with differences in brain function. These are normal and not deficiencies. It celebrates diversity, destigmatizes developmental conditions, and encourages accommodating differences instead of conformity. The primary recognized neurodiverse conditions are autism spectrum disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. People who are not neurodiverse are called neurotypicals. Neurodiverse people, at a minimum, make up 12% of the population. However, it is widely believed that the number is a lot higher due to widespread lack of awareness, misdiagnosis, and stigma. Masking is the act of making yourself appear as non-neurodiverse as possible in order to protect yourself and fit in. It is an unconscious defense mechanism designed to protect the neurodiverse individual from judgment, bullying, and stigma. Masking leads to exhaustive burnout and isolation, leaving the individual feeling as if they don't know who they really are. Due to masking, almost all neurodiverse teenagers and adults experience social anxiety. This can make socializing, especially with strangers, uncomfortable at best and cripplingly painful at worst. It can also lead to agoraphobia, a fear of leaving the house. There is often a misconception that neurodiverse people, especially autistic individuals, experience a social deficit. However, recent studies have proved that, when communicating with other neurodiverse individuals, neurodiverse people are highly effective communicators. This simply is a social empathy barrier. This is important to realize when statistically, neurodiverse people are much more likely to experience loneliness than neurotypical people. Only making up a small fraction of the population, and feeling unable to be their true self, it follows that neurodiverse individuals would not only feel lonely, but also experience increased levels of depression, anxiety, and decreased life satisfaction and self-esteem. In a survey of over 50 neurodiverse individuals, the majority strongly agreed with the statement, "I feel more connected with neurodiverse people than neurotypical people." Considering the research discussed before, this makes sense. Neurodiverse people are highly efficient at communicating with each other. Not only this, but they typically build rapport significantly quicker than neurotypical people. Research has also suggested that both a greater quantity and quality of friendships is associated with decreased loneliness in neurodiverse individuals. Combining these two pieces of information, it follows that encouraging friendships between neurodiverse individuals will lead to less neurodiverse loneliness and a greater quality of life. This is Felicity, who represents a typical lonely neurodiverse individual. Felicity is 23 and a student aiming to become a classical literature academic. She loves reading, writing, and crafting. Felicity experiences dual ADHD and ASD. She also experiences severe social anxiety and major depressive disorder, as well as other anxiety conditions. Felicity doesn't have many friends. She was diagnosed with both of her conditions recently. For most of her life, Felicity felt alienated and disconnected from her peers in spite of her best efforts. She only has one friend she feels comfortable unmasking around, who is also autistic, but feels she needs more connections since the friend is only available to hang out 2 times a week. She wants to make friends with someone who also loves crafting. However, Felicity feels unable to socialize in person. She struggles with masking and is incredibly burnt out. Leaving the house, a stressful task, only to socialize another stressful task, which may lead to a bad interaction, sounds like an absolute nightmare to her. Felicity feels alone and unable to fix it. This then begs the question, how might we connect Felicity with other neurodiverse people while minimizing her discomfort in masking? I feel that the best way to help Felicity, and the many neurodiverse individuals like her, is through neurodiverse pen paling. Pen paling is writing letters to someone you don't know, often from a different country. It can be done for many reasons, including practicing a language or learning about a new culture, but is often used for making new friends. People who participate in pen paling often enjoy decorating letters and being creative with their communication. Neurodiverse pen paling is pen paling between neurodiverse people. The explicit focus would be to make friends and decrease loneliness through connection. Why pen paling? It has been widely observed that neurodiverse people, especially those with ASD, prefer communicating via written word. Writing allows neurodiverse people to think more about what they want to say and removes the awkwardness of face-to-face interactions. It allows users to communicate from the comfort of their own home, which is a great advantage for individuals suffering from agoraphobia. Pen pals are traditionally mailed by post, meaning there is significantly less pressure to respond immediately than in digital communication. For those who struggle with social pressure, this would be incredibly freeing. As previously mentioned, there is also a creativity element. Neurodiverse people are typically creative types and love to express themselves. Drawing, crafting, photography, and writing are all areas that neurodiverse people enjoy. Coincidentally, all of these forms of creativity can be engaged with in pen paling. Iris, who is autistic in pen pals, said this of her experience pen paling. I get to make pretty letters and can communicate with people with similar interests without having to speak or go anywhere in mask. It's much easier than talking in person. However, introducing a new hobby can be challenging for those who are neurodiverse, especially if it involves socializing. Thus, I wish to introduce a service that can take a lot of the stress out of starting neurodiverse pen paling. This is Diverse Pals and Pens. It is a neurodiverse pen paling service that guides its users through the steps of finding a potential friend all the way to posting their first letter. It is designed by neurodiverse people for neurodiverse people. Here is a short storyboard of Felicity's user experience. This is Felicity. Her aesthetic is cute. Pink is her favorite color. She likes crafting, stuffed animals, Markiplier, and reading. Felicity wants to make friends. This is where Diverse Pals and Pens comes in. After completing a quick questionnaire, Felicity will receive a list of potential pals with mutual interests and within a similar age group to her. After finding her potential pal, Leaf, who she feels she has a lot in common with, she sends a pal request and waits for Leaf's response. Leaf feels that they are an adequate match. Now that Felicity has a match, a pen pal kit is sent to her address. This pen pal kit is customized to her taste using the information found in the questionnaire earlier. With the help of the box's conversation prompts and Leaf's online information, Felicity writes a letter. After finishing writing the letter, Felicity posts it in the mail. She then notifies the website that the letter has been sent. After waiting a couple of days, Felicity will eventually receive a notification from Leaf that her letter has arrived. From this point, all Felicity has to do is wait for Leaf to write her letter. Once Felicity receives Leaf's sent notification, she keeps an eye out in the mail for their letter to arrive. Felicity then reads Leaf's letter and responds. All that is left is for the two pals to continue correspondence. Now that we have seen the typical user experience, let's discuss the details. One potential divergence in the user experience is the Platonic matchmaking process. The user can either manually find a match by scrolling through potential pals, or by being automatically matched up via the website's algorithm. It is up to the user to decide whether they want more control or less stress. Having both of these options available provides for those who struggle with this kind of decision making, as well as those who want complete control of their choices to access this service. The first step for a new user is to complete a short questionnaire. The information will be used to A. Obtain content for the user's profile which will be accessible to other pals, B. Determine the user's aesthetic and color preferences for the starter kit customization, and C. To narrow down the user's potential pals using the Common Ground algorithm, primarily focusing on age and mutual interests. The questionnaire is designed to not be too intrusive and allows the user to share more information if they want to. The questions are clearly worded and to the point. More open-ended questions are accompanied by examples. This makes it accessible to all users and decreases the chance of any confusion. When designing web content with neurodiverse people in mind, it is important to note that a significant number of neurodiverse people have learning disabilities that affect their ability to read. To help with this, I use the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which contains all of the most current information on making the web an accessible place for all individuals. The web page color palette, font, text, and page layout were developed using this resource. The palette combines pink, green, brown, and white. The muted tones are soothing for people with visual sensitivity, but still engaging and fun. The contrast between the text and background colors is not too much or too little. Its legibility was verified using the color contrast analyzer, set to meet the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. The fonts are cute but clear. The body text is clearly worded, using single-sentence paragraphs. Other pages would stick to similar, concise paragraphs. I used imagery to keep the page engaging, especially since a lot of neurodiverse people with learning disabilities rely on visual cues. The PenPal Starter Kit includes a limited range of items designed to engage the user but not overwhelm them. It contains 20 pages of A4 paper and 10 envelopes. This should give the user enough paper to let themselves make mistakes, but not so much as to be overwhelming. The kit also includes one colored pen, a pencil, sharpener, and eraser for writing the letter. The option of both a pen and pencil are provided to allow the user to write in whatever medium feels best to them. It also contains 10 conversation prompts, each tailored to the mutual interests of the paired pals. This should help the user should they feel stuck on what to write about. Similarly, the kit provides an information pamphlet detailing how to write and post a letter, how to notify the website, different ways to get creative with pen paling, their pal's profile information and address, and resources to access should they experience any problems. This should guide the user and take a lot of the stress out of starting pen paling. Finally, the kit includes 2 pages of big stickers, 2 pages of small stickers, 1 roll of color washi tape, and 1 roll of patterned washi tape. Ideally, this would encourage the user to engage with the creative aspect of pen paling and allow for a more personal expression. These are customized based on the user's taste and are categorized into 8 aesthetics: sporty, spooky, retro, elegant, cute, colorful, sci-fi, and hippie. While these categories may not fit every individual's style perfectly, they are broad enough that there should be something for everyone to like. Having a diverse range of aesthetics allows for more users to engage with the kits, with the custom-made aspect making it feel more tailor-made to the user. The goal is for the user to have the most fun possible, whilst not overwhelming them. The stickers and pattern tape would ideally be updated every month for each category, providing returning users who are interested in refilling their kit a new experience. In the future, I would like to do practical testing with the PenPal kit. Iris, the user previously mentioned, said, "I can't think of anything to improve the kit. It's pretty good and offers a nice range of things to get someone started on pen paling." This is positive, but I would love to complete a beta test with about 10 neurodiverse individuals within the age range of 20 and 30 years old. I would be able to study the effects of using the kit and engage with user feedback. If the kit proves effective in establishing connections and decreasing loneliness, I would look to commercializing it. That said, what is most important to me is accessibility. A significant number of neurodiverse people are disabled and lack funds for non-essentials like this, so where possible, I would like to leave aspects like the website and matching service fee-free. A version of the pamphlet would also be available online. This website could also provide a page on how to pen pal on a budget, since it can be a very low-cost hobby. The goal of DPNP is to connect neurodiverse people, not to gatekeep those who can't afford a starter kit. For those who do want the starter kit, they would be supporting the service and getting a fun start to pen paling out of it. To get a look at what a user can expect, I encourage you to come to the front of the room for a live unboxing.